She's number one at being dumb, the new face of the DNC. Gather round, cause that's a Jazzy. Yeah, baby.
Jasmine Crockett's got another hot take. No blacks and whites on a wedding cake. The Democrats' new chosen one, Jasmine Crockett, is in the news again for an old clip where she attacked Florida Rep. Byron Donalds for marrying a white woman.
Greg Gutfeld just torched Jasmine Crockett on live TV, and it was a total annihilation. With razor-sharp wit and zero restraint, Gutfeld shredded her grandstanding nonsense and left her gasping for comebacks. It wasn't a debate, it was a demolition. Crockett brought talking points. Gutfeld brought a flamethrower. The audience didn't just watch, they howled. Social media exploded. If you thought political commentary was boring, think again. This was pure, unfiltered carnage, and Crockett never saw it coming.
Or literally, it's because you married a white woman and so you think that they're whitewashing.
That's not very woke, is it? Of course, Crockett isn't the only Democrat who's opposed to interracial marriage, or else more Democrats would have voted for this one. Racist!
Greg Gutfeld doesn't just debate, he demolishes. He doesn't engage in calm discussions. He rips through nonsense like a political buzzsaw wrapped in sarcasm and dipped in Red Bull. So when Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett decided to step into the spotlight with her usual flair for drama and headline-chasing sound bites, it was only a matter of time before she ran into a Gutfeld-shaped wrecking ball. And oh boy, did it hit hard. The moment Crockett tried to puff up her political feathers and take her antics from the House floor to the public eye, she made a fatal error. She assumed Greg Gutfeld would treat her with the kid gloves the mainstream media lovingly offers.
Plantation.
Tyrus, I go to you for no particular reason. Is she making any point there?
Like this makes me wish my mom made different father choices. Because we all get sucked into this. Like, this is, if you're going to talk about black history, at least know it. This is, at least know it, okay?
Nope. Instead, she walked straight into the lion's den, unprepared, overconfident, and wildly outmatched. Now, Crockett isn't exactly known for substance. She's more of a performance artist masquerading as a legislator, an expert at shouting over people, tossing around buzzwords, and staging TikTok-friendly tantrums. Her political career so far has consisted mostly of angry tirades, viral clapbacks, and turning every microphone she finds into a one-woman talent show. To her fan base, that's called fighting for justice. To everyone else, it's just noise.
But it goes back to, that was 45 seconds of some of the, like, Kamala, you good right now. That was some of the dumbest shit I ever heard in my life. Here's the thing. This goes back to what we talked about earlier. They never have a solution. Just listen to your dumbass talk. You want to talk about agriculture? Why don't you fix the lottery? Why don't you make it easier for people who want to come into this country to work in agriculture and equitation and factories? Get rid of the lottery. Open it up. Talk to the president. Like, hey, we got a plan. We want to make it easier for people who can vet and come in and work in this country. Come up with an idea besides, any of y'all want to pick cotton? We're like, we're in suits in the middle of the Midwest. Why would we pick cotton? It's like the extreme stupidness of what she speaks.
If you're enjoying this breakdown, please make sure to subscribe. But Gutfeld? He doesn't make noise. He cuts through it with sniper-level sarcasm and a grin that says, I already know where this is going, and you're not going to like it. So when he decided to respond to Crockett's latest round of grandstanding, a mix of race baiting, deflection, and the usual partisan theatrics, he didn't come to play. He came to roast. And roast he did. He began by painting the exact picture everyone else was thinking but too polite to say, that Crockett is less of a serious political leader and more of a walking viral moment, desperately clinging to relevance through performative.
She's so rotten, she wants migrants picking cotton. We present to you Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who made this shocking argument why America needs immigrants. Roll it, Alfred.
So I had to go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands. You're not. We done picking cotton. We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
She wasn't asking questions. She was performing monologues. She wasn't defending ideas. She was trying to land zingers for likes. And in Gutfeld's universe, that's the lowest form of political life. The takedown wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. It was precise, relentless, and dripping with contempt. Gutfeld didn't need to shout. He just held up a mirror. And what Crockett saw wasn't flattering. He exposed the emptiness behind her rhetoric, the contradictions in her statements, and the paper-thin logic holding her entire political persona together. And let's not pretend this was some isolated spat. Jasmine Crockett has made a name for herself as the queen of House committee theatrics. Whenever the cameras are on, she's got a new meltdown queued up, complete with over-the-top expressions, dramatic pauses, and just enough buzzwords to keep the cable news producers interested. It's political theater at its worst. All performance, no policy. But this time, her one-woman show was upstaged. Gutfeld didn't just comment on her behavior. He dismantled it. Every exaggerated hand gesture, every exaggerated grievance, every manufactured controversy, Gutfeld dragged it all into the spotlight and nuked it with a combination of satire and pure, unfiltered common sense.
Gilmead, she's getting to be the face of that party.
I know, thanks to your show.
Yeah.
I don't know what's more popular, this or The View on Gutfeld. But a couple of things. Did you see, at first I thought she was doing it for comedic purposes, but you watch back, nobody had a response. They didn't know what the hell she was talking about. And she's like, oh, really? Farming? Yes, it's called eating, farming. America's got the best farmers in the world. There's glory in doing it. People do it, and the people don't do it by hand anymore. This isn't 1820. So I was just stunned by what she's saying. But the weird thing is, she probably left that room thinking she knocked it out of the park. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that anyone can stop her from being the face of the party, except Bernie Sanders, who's 111 years old, talking about oligarchs.
He mocked the absurdity of her outrage. He spotlighted the contradictions in her rants. One moment she's calling for unity. The next, she's accusing everyone who disagrees with her of being part of a vast conspiracy to silence her brilliance. Gutfeld saw right through it and called it what it was, a carefully curated act designed to distract from the fact that she's accomplished, well, not much of anything. And that's where things got delicious. Gutfeld didn't just stop at Crockett's behavior. He went for her record, or more accurately, the lack thereof. Despite all her energy and theatrics, Crockett's legislative impact has been negligible. No landmark bills. No significant accomplishments. Just a lot of viral clips and puffed-up interviews where she repeats the same 4 talking points in increasingly louder tones. So Gutfeld laid it bare. Crockett is a brand, not a leader. She's the political equivalent of a reality TV contestant who thinks chaos equals charisma. And while that might earn her fan accounts on Instagram, it doesn't...
Do you have an opinion on this, or should I move on to somebody?
No, I just... It has to come from me.
Yes.
Okay. None of y'all are qualified. Not just for one thing, I'm mad at Charmaine the Guy because he should have kicked her out. See, the problem is that we are allowing our own culture to be openly racist and get away with it. Now, if a white person is offended by that, and they should be, they say something, it's like, it's not the same thing. But if you say that, and another brother looks at you and goes, man, you wrong for that. And I don't want you on my show. Get the hell out. Because I'm telling you right now, if I was not on the show, which happens sometimes, and someone was sitting in his chair and he was complaining about black men this and black that, and they shouldn't be here. And you know what happens when a white woman marries a black guy? You would not have seen that guy in the next segment. He would have kicked his ass off, because you're not going to talk about somebody that I care about like that, or another person like that.
Of course,
that's the problem.
Crockett's defenders didn't take kindly to this. They leapt to her defense faster than you can say identity politics, insisting that any criticism of her is rooted in bigotry, misogyny, or, wait for it, fear of her power. But Gutfeld wasn't having it. He cut through the deflection with surgical precision, reminding everyone that criticism isn't hate, it's accountability. And if you can't handle that, maybe politics isn't your arena. The public's response? Oh, it was brutal. Social media exploded. Memes flooded in. One showed Gutfeld standing over a cartoonishly exaggerated Crockett with a caption, "Sit down and learn something." Others just replayed the takedown on loop, treating it like the political version of a UFC knockout. And let's not overlook the elephant in the room. Crockett walked straight into this disaster. She wasn't provoked. She wasn't targeted. She stepped into the arena, mic in hand, ready to throw shade, and forgot that Gutfeld brings a flamethrower to a slap fight. While she tried to deflect, gaslight, and shriek her way out of the spotlight, Gutfeld kept hammering her with facts, logic, and sarcasm sharp enough to make a dictionary bleed.
Yes. Yeah, all right. All right, stop it. Although I must say you have great taste. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Oh, man. Okay.
It was like watching someone try to fight fire with glitter, useless, sparkly, and completely outmatched. Even her allies began quietly stepping back, clearly realizing this wasn't a battle anyone wanted to be caught in. Gutfeld wasn't just going after one bad soundbite. He was going after the entire performance politics industry Crockett represents. He was shining a spotlight on a breed of politicians who think media virality is a substitute for governance, and doing it in a way that was too hilarious to ignore. And then came the cherry on top. After roasting her logic, her theatrics, and her record, Gutfeld doubled down by reminding everyone what real leadership looks like. It's not about yelling louder or calling your critics names. It's not about performing outrage for clicks. It's about showing up, doing the work, and making real change, not just memes and headlines. Jasmine Crockett learned the hard way that when you prioritize attention over action, someone like Greg Gutfeld is always going to be there, ready to call your bluff, torch your talking points, and serve you up on a platter of satire with a side of embarrassment.
Jesse, they call Musk a Nazi, and next thing you know, you got swastikas on cars. They called Trump Hitler and a Nazi and a fascist, and he got shot. So I don't really ever see that happening on the Republican side when we make fun of Democrats. It's also about the supporters. It's not just the leaders. It seems like Democrats are easily programmed to do bad things.
Yes, they are. They're very easily programmed, Greg.
I made you say that.
One Jesse, they call Musk a Nazi. And next thing you know, you've got swastikas on cars. They called Trump Hitler a Nazi and a fascist, and he got shot. I don't really ever see that happening on the Republican side. When we make fun of Democrats, it's also about the supporters, not just the leaders. It seems like Democrats are easily programmed to do bad things. Yes, they are, Jesse chimed in. They're very easily programmed, Greg. I made you say that, Gutfeld quipped. And this wasn't just a takedown. It was a full-blown warning label in human form. Greg Gutfeld didn't just dismantle Jasmine Crockett's performance. He turned it into a teachable moment for every political influencer turned legislator riding the dopamine high of social media applause. For every politician who thinks being loud equals being effective, who mistakes TikTok tantrums for policy wins, Gutfeld just scribbled across their brand with a giant sarcastic marker. We see you. We're tired. And we're not clapping anymore. Because here's the thing, this wasn't a back and forth. This wasn't a debate. This was the intellectual equivalent of an ambush at a vegan potluck, where Gutfeld showed up with a rack of ribs and a megaphone. Jasmine Crockett tried to rally the crowd, hoping her signature cocktail of indignation and buzzwords would drown out the fact that her argument had more holes than a leaky submarine. But it didn't work this time. The audience wasn't buying it. No standing ovations. No sympathetic retweets. Just stunned silence and that awkward secondhand embarrassment you get when someone tries a backflip and lands on their face.
First, they cursed, now they thirst. for blood. Jasmine Crockett is upping her temper tantrums, now saying the only way Democrats can win elections is by throwing hands.
I think you punch. I think you're okay with you okay with punching. It's Ted Cruz. I mean, like, this dude has to be knocked over the head, like, hard, right?
Crockett flailed, trying to recover. She spun in circles like a malfunctioning Roomba, throwing out phrases like systemic oppression, voice of the people, and let me finish. But each one just bounced off the force field of Gutfeld's unimpressed smirk. It was like watching someone try to put out a grease fire by yelling at it. Entertaining? Yes. Effective? Not even close. Meanwhile, Gutfeld looked like a man who had already mentally moved on to lunch. He didn't even need to raise his voice. His takedown was so calm, so clinical, it almost felt like customer service. Thank you for your outrage. Please hold while we transfer you to someone who cares. He wasn't just winning, he was winning without breaking a sweat. You could almost hear elevator music playing in his head while Crockett scrambled to save face. And let's not forget the audience. Oh, the audience. They weren't just watching, they were feasting. Every snarky jab Gutfeld delivered landed like a confetti cannon in a room full of overinflated egos. Laughter exploded. Heads turned. Crockett's moment of bravery quickly devolved into a live demonstration.
Now, she claims that she wasn't talking about Abbott's wheelchair at all. Yet she's mentioned Abbott's wheels before. In 2022, she posted Beto's rolling around the state. Where's Abbott rolling to? And according to the Washington Free Beacon, Crockett also liked several Facebook comments referring to Abbott as Hot Wheels back in 2020.
Her supporters tried to salvage the wreckage. Tweets were launched. Think pieces were drafted. Someone probably wrote a strongly worded Instagram caption about misogynoir before realizing it wouldn't erase the burn marks. But the damage was done. This wasn't a small stumble, it was a full collapse of the facade. The Empress wasn't just naked, she was live-streaming it. And Gutfeld? He had already exited the battlefield. The smug confidence on his face said it all. He knew he'd won. He knew this wasn't just another political squabble, it was a cultural autopsy. He didn't just take down Jasmine Crockett. He took down the entire genre of performance politicians who confuse clout with competence and tantrums with leadership. What made it worse, at least for Crockett, was that Gutfeld never once lost his cool. No shouting, no table pounding, no melodrama, just surgical ridicule and facts, delivered with the timing of a late-night comedian and the patience of a man who's seen this act 100 times before. He wasn't angry. He was bored. And somehow, that made it hurt even more. Crockett stood there, still clutching the microphone, still waiting for applause that would never come. It was the political version of singing your heart out at karaoke, only to realize the room is empty and